You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today, Jane, we're going to start with the Fed February 1st rate hike and what it means. As expected, the Fed raised their rates by 25 points. So that kind of was expected. I reviewed Chairman Powell's speech, and he kept emphasizing the need to bring inflation down to the goal level of 2%. In fact, he said it so many times, I think he mentioned it, I counted. He referenced that phrase 6 times in the speech about driving inflation down to the 2% desired target. And they anticipate, as also expected, they anticipate future rate hikes until they get to that goal. He kept emphasizing despite the slowdown, consumer spending is still too high, and that's going to be their only tool. Is really their most important enemy is inflation, because the people that can't afford the essentials, housing, food, transportation, he's sympathetic and feels the pain of the people. So the consumer spending. So that's their focus. So expect future rate hikes. But now we're gonna analyze that in terms of the real estate market. Just because the Fed has raised their interest rates, we're going to look at what it's done to the mortgage rates for the buyer market.
Ken, before we talk about the interest rate and all these hikes, let's talk about what I'm interested in most today. Today is the Lantern Festival. Hey!
Oh, that's right.
In Chinese culture, right? Our New Year celebration lasts 15 days.
And today is the 15th day.
Today is the 15th day. Why the last 15 days? Because I think in the history, everybody want to go back home to celebrate the New Year, Lunar New Year with the family. That's always the tradition, family festival. So if you go from far and wide, so you want to spend more time. And especially recent years, Chinese government and the company will give, pretty much 2 weeks or even more, 2.5 weeks off. So today is the last day. You enjoying the food and company. Tomorrow, go back to work. And that's where that Lantern Festival come from. I heard. I mean, once again, that's just from the history. I mean, I learned from my grandmother, because centuries ago, long time ago, Chinese women unfortunately not allowed to work, not allowed to come out. So if you are being a lady, you have to stay home. You're not allowed to go out, and dating is totally out of the question. So the family normally matchmaker you to the suitable, future husband. So, but on the 15th day of the New Year, Lantern Festival, a lot of young people allowed to go out. It's like a fair. They have food, they have selling things, they have a celebration, they play dragon dance, and you go out as a young woman, if you like somebody, and you can ask around and find out more and indicate to your family, you're interested. So does the guys, if you want to see, the girls suitable. So that's the day for young people. And also on the 15th, our cultures eat, in North at least, eat a sticky ball soup, sticky ball, like we call them 元宵. And that means the family stick together. So that's a very, very well known in the North. And today, and most importantly, guys, when Chinese New Year, you can say Happy New Year. It's not only the New Year day, you can say Happy New Year like 15 days. But after today, you cannot say Happy New Year because that period passed. So unlike the U.S., right?
U.S. it's a little bit different. I mean, some people after 2 weeks, I don't think there is a norm. I even was on a Zoom meeting last night where the leaders started off by saying Happy New Year, and we're in February already. I mean, the people hadn't met, so I don't think there's a strict rule. Everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, but in China it is, but trajectory-wise, you visit each other, family visit each other, bring gift, and so on and so forth. But 15th day is marking the end of the celebration.
But Jane, what you're telling me then is the 15th day is both a good day and a bad day. It's a happy day for the young people because they're free to go out and to mingle, but it's a sadder day for the workers that are already married because they got to go back to work tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Yes.
So that's So there's good and there's bad, right?
Yes, a lot of the companies, if they own business in China, sometimes they didn't understand. They said, how come the shipment not arrived? Because the custom closed and the banks closed, government closed. A lot of places in China closed for that period.
Oh, so that could affect the supply chain depending on what goods we're getting from China because the supply because if all the factories are shut, there's going to be a backlog.
Most of them, I should say, of them shut.
Other than the essential services, I'm sure that obviously the government for China, the police.
The government closed too.
Yeah.
The government normally closed too. It's only the emergency, like you said. Then the central service is open. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good background. Thank you, Jane, for sharing that with us.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to share that. Yes,
especially the food. That's one of your favorite parts of this time of the new year. Right?
That's right.
Different dishes for different days of the festival. All right. So the Fed rate hike.
You forgot what you're talking about.
No, I did. Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the Central Jersey market.
That's right.
Interest rates, right. More the exciting world of that. So February 1st rate hike marks the 8th time within the last year that the Fed has raised their rates. But again, I think the immediate impact of this recent rate hike is that it was expected. It doesn't feel like it has the shock and the awe that the previous rate hikes did in 2022. That could be mostly because in 2022 they were steeper and they were more frequent. So that kind of really tried to shake the market, whereas this one was expected. It was only 25 basis points. So effectively, the Fed rate now the Fed's rate is at 4.75%, which marks the highest rate it's been since 2010. But again, the rates, we have to wait and see how the mortgage rates are. I mean, they may have already adjusted for this and they're not going to get out of control.
I think, Ken, I agree with you. Not only I feel, once again, this is a personal opinion. I could be totally wrong here. I feel the interest rate, the mortgage interest rate, right, is become more stable and went down slightly. I was really surprised. I was very surprised last week or two, the interest rate went down with anticipation of the Fed going to raise the rate on February 1st, because we all at that time, I was telling all my clients, I said, the February 1st the rate hike is a given. There's no debate about it. But it's a 25 basis point versus 50. That's the question, right? But I think the rate's only 25, just which meet the market expectation. So there's no shock, no surprises. And but I was surprised a week or two ago, the interest rate suddenly reduced. Maybe that's a sign the lenders anticipate the future, the rate, maybe no longer have a big hike or even going down. So in the long term, I think that could be, good news in a way to the buyers, because that would definitely get the buyers the monthly payment stabilized.
Right. And we covered this on the last show where we kind of predicted that the rates would hover between the 5s and the 6s. And sure enough, the chief economist, Yun, of the NAR, National Association of Realtors, just came out with a statement. In his opinion, the interest rates will be between 5.5 and 6.5%. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of in line with what I think a lot of the economists are predicting with the 2023 interest rate market.
Yes. If you look at 5.5 to 6.5%, it's definitely much lower than last year, because in June last year, suddenly at one stage, the rate jumped over 7. That's really shocked the market, shocked everyone that time. So this now is more like manageable.
Right, and the market is stabilized because when the interest rates go up too dramatically, that in the past, what happened in 2022 was it caused a 3-digit increase in the monthly payments, and the economists are saying that the market is now more stabilized. So the interest rate fluctuations are not going to result in that 3-digit increase in the monthly payment, a few $100s, where that was the experience we had last year, where literally,
Absolutely.
1 week it was 6, and then it went up, to 7, and that caused a dramatic difference in the monthly payments.
Yeah, I remember that day. I think from 11 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the interest just were keeping going up and up. During that time, we had a few contracts in the attorney review. As you all know, during the attorney review, either side can cancel with or without any reason, either side or buyer side. But we had 3 contracts, I think, under attorney review. At the end, actually, there was at the end, because the rate suddenly jumped to above 7, and 2 family no longer afford. One house was almost a $750,000 house. The monthly payment jumped up almost $700. So that's really a month payment.
So you're talking that's like a car.
Yeah.
That's like more than a car payment for most people.
Yeah,
depending on the car. But that's significant.
It could be 2 car payments,
Yeah,
or a car payment plus the gas.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was really, the 2 family automatically no longer qualified, and they were still a turn review. So the 2 contract was canceled. But there was another family, in fact, they were under contract already. They just went on the contract. They just went to apply the mortgage at that time, right? Even though they barely made it, but the buyer feels so nervous because they said, I don't want to buy a house. Later on, I have no money for our children's,
no cushion for anything else.
The
right.
activity, or sacrifice our lifestyle on the holidays, or even, to food on the table. So they don't want to be a house poor at that point. But they already under contract, and then at that time, they qualified even with the increase, but they're very tight because they were very conservative buyers.
Yeah.
They want to live below their mean.
They don't want to be house poor.
Yeah,
but
words, suddenly 700 some more. So at that time, but the seller was very gracious. We understand. So the seller decided let the buyer out of the contract without penalty because we already under contract that point. Yeah.
Okay. All good stuff. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to our show. So we're going to continue talking about why this current market of 2023 is not going to be a repeat of 2008. We've covered this before, but I think the main factor is that the housing market is stable now, and that's stable because people have invested more money, more equity in their houses. They are locked into typically lower interest rates than they were in 2008, and so that's really we're not going to nobody. I don't think any of the economists are predicting a collapse of the market or a great downsizing of 25 to 30% of the market as happened back in 2008. However, there is one component of the housing market, new construction, that we should touch upon. New construction, the builders are facing challenges because of the rising costs of materials is well documented, as well as the rising costs of the labor market. So they're having a challenge of providing a finished house at an affordable price to the buyer market that is looking for new construction, which are typically the buyers entering the market. So I think the new construction is the builders are facing a great challenge based on what the economic data indicates.
Yeah, I think recently I saw some news. There was one builder in Central Jersey. They almost finished the whole project now. They offer deep discount / free upgrade, huge amount to the buyer. I think they maybe because they have a couple of or a few unit maybe sold, but whatever the reason, maybe the buyer no longer qualified or something. Now they very close to the completion of the project, and maybe that's reason there's a lot of layoff and so on and so forth. So maybe that's just caused the builder try to just get a quick closing. They reduce some the price and try to attract the buyer. And also, I heard out of state used to be the buyer go there, this long line, the registration, the seller, the builder is very want a lot of more money for the home and upgrade. But recently, a lot of builders reach out to the buyers who registered but did not purchase, reach out to them. Also, that, in my opinion, that shows a little bit of awakening market in that. So otherwise, the builder wouldn't just, try to attract the buyer.
Aggressively go after the...
Yeah, the buyer, try to contact them and attract them, offer the good package and for them to buy the house. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's give you the $1 million question. When is it a good time to sell the house? Is now a good time to sell?
Yeah, I think when is good time to sell. I have a lot of people ask me the question, and I would say, it depends on your own time schedule. If your time is flexible, you better sell it now because now is February. A lot of people think they want to wait till spring. However, during the spring, you may have more buyers come to the market, but a lot of buyers may just start the process. Also, there may be more housing come to the market as well. In spring, if you have a lot of people say, I have a swimming pool, I have a beautiful, landscaping, I want to wait.
Right, they want to stage it better. Yeah. They want the photos to look better. They want the grass to be green and not barren. They want the landscaping to be show it off. So there's a lot of perception is that the spring is the best time because their house shines the brightest, but that's not necessarily critical in this market because people, when they buy a house, they look at the location, they look at the schools, they look at their lifestyle, functionality, the closeness to the job, to the family, et cetera. And the landscaping is important, but the most important things I would think with the home are the layout and the bedrooms and the floor plan. And the landscaping, it can be
They can see
the
landscaping.
They can see it. And with most homes, you can fix the landscaping or you can embellish it the way you like. So it's not really a critical factor. It's a nice thing to have. But for most, again, there are some homes that have fabulous landscaping that really are like a wow. But for the majority of the homes, the landscaping is just a nice added feature that can be, fixed.
I agree with you, Ken. Furthermore, right, if you have a wonderful, the landscaping because the spring, other people do too. So in winter, right, and a lot of nice homes we sold in the past have a very good landscaping, have a nice pool, very beautiful curb peeling. But even winter, you can see it. I always ask the owner, do you have some pictures? We can put a picture. If you have a pool, when it's opening, we can slide a picture there, which we did for many homes. And if you have a spring, picture, you have your beautiful, tree, have a blossom. That's definitely look good. Especially in winter, depressing months. That's give you some happiness and hope. But that's all good. But I would think, in the winter time, especially, you had a really serious buyers. The reason they go out in the cold weather, they go into rain and snow, they really want to buy a house. So you have the number of buyer may be less, but the quality and the willingness of the buyer is more and is strong. Yeah, the willingness is, right. The need is strong. Yes.
And of course, the inventory is still low, very low. So that means that the pickings are less. So your house, if you put it on the market now, it has a better chance of getting the most exposure. And, there isn't much out there. There isn't much competition or less competition, we should say.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Supply and demand, really.
Yeah. I think we can say, though, that the market, the market is always changing. It goes from, and now I think the market stage we're in for residential is more of a neutral market. It's no longer the seller's market. So a neutral market, what that means is that there's more of an arm's length negotiation. The buyers can request more rights with their home inspection, repairs, not having to necessarily waive the appraisal contingency. So when you agree, Jane, that the market, I think it's more balanced now.
Yes,
than
it's
it was.
more balanced. Ken, because we had such great market last 3 years in a row, so the appraisal issue is not that vital. Right, if you don't waive the appraisal, so because the market not going further up, it's more stabilized. So what what the recent sale data would pretty much support the appraisal value. So that even, that's why I said the seller, I don't think that's necessary. It's not a vital factor. We have to make sure the buyer agreed with the appraisal contingency value, right? So, but sometimes the buyer agent know that, but they still use that as a tool. Sounds good on the paper. I waive the appraisal contingency, even though we both know it's definitely going to appraise, right?
Right.
So that's just good marketing. Like the buyer can utilize that as a tool to make the offer standing out, but not actually giving up much their rights to the seller. Having said that, I do see a lot of buyers more, picky in the home inspection, because back last couple of years is a very strong market. So the buyer willing to waive their rights more. So if anything in home inspection, generally speaking, most cases, the buyer would be not requesting much from the seller.
Right.
But recently, I think that has been changed.
Right. And also, what's the sentiment of the buyers out on the street when they come into the open houses? Are they acclimated? Are they prepared to buy? Are they adjusted to the real interest rates? And do they realize that 2022, 2021, 2020 that the interest rates were suppressed, and that this is really the norm of interest rates? Do you get a feel on the street from all the buyers that have been coming to the open houses that they're in the market? They know that it's never going to go down to 3% again. Are they willing, able, and ready to buy? And
I think so, Ken, because think about it. Last year they went up, so the interest went up so sharp and so fast, right? So that was a shock to everybody. And then the interest rate went up to middle 6, even to up 7, right? So now they come down below 6. For the buyers, they view it as a good news. They view it as a great news, right?
It's almost like, sorry to interrupt, but since this is a sports station, it's almost like a team that has a losing record for, let's say, 20 years, and then the 1 year they make the playoffs, and then they lose the first round. But it's all what you're acclimated to. So it's the same thing with the interest rates. If you're acclimated to being great, then it's harder to adjust. But then when they go really bad and then come back down again, then you're like, you know what, 5.5 is not so bad. So it's all what you're used to.
That's right.
It's all relative.
Yes, absolutely. I think the buyer is pretty much view it as a good news of the interest rate more stabilized. They view it as a positive at the moment. Yes.
Right. And I think Chairman Powell has expressed that too. And I think the economists all express that sentiment that the interest rates are going to be in that stable range of 5.5 to 6.5%. Yeah. So that gives the public, the buyers, a sense of comfort.
That's why a lot of buyers come out now, because you just mentioned 5.5 to 6.5. There's still 1% difference.
Which is a big,
yeah. So at the moment, if they can get a good rate, and a lot of buyer out there, that's explained last 2-3 weeks. So many buyers out there looking for homes. If you are a seller sitting on the fence, I would highly recommend it. Call your agent and put your home on the market.
And they should jump off the fence then.
Yes, jump off the fence.
Okay.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
All right. Well said. That's a wrap. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of the weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.